Coming up next on Get Caught in a Net. Wednesday, September 20th, 2023, 12 noon Central Standard Time. Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette Inspirational Spotlight featuring Dr. Victoria Hooker. Are you a product of your environment? What did your environment produce? Stay tuned.
You are now tuned in to Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette, where your host, Annette Harris, analyze intriguing life questions and concerns, such as, do Christians suffer from mental illness? Have you wondered why they act abnormal? Or you may ask, what is really going on in their minds? Do you need Annette? Well, keep listening for a biblical understanding of the psychology of the mind.
Hey guys, welcome to another wonderful segment of Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette. I'm your host, Annette Harris. Thank you so much for joining us on today, for watching and or listening. Listen, guys, I'm excited about this segment on today. I am going to present someone that I'm like a kid in a candy store right now. But let me do this before I go further. You know, I'm also your certified positive mental health ambassador and author of that nominated bestseller, Surviving a Silenced Heartbeat. Here at Get Caught in the Net, we want to present to you individuals. Sometimes they're sharing their own personal journeys to help you along your way. And we're going to feature our inspirational spotlight on today. Let me pray before I get started. Lord, we thank you for all things. We thank you for what you've done, what you're going to do. We are excited about the things that you're doing in our lives and through us. And we pray that you will continue to get the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. And the opening scripture, the first part of Hosea 4:6 states, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. And again, we are grateful to be here on today. I always say when you see my face around 12 o'clock noon Central Standard Time on a Wednesday, it's time for you to come on and get caught in the net. Listen, do me a favor. I need you to tag individuals. I need you to throw up the heart, the thumbs up, the care button. Let someone else know that we are on right now, because this segment on today is going to be inspirational, as it says, inspirational spotlight, and we don't want anyone to miss it. So we're live on Facebook, Annette Get Caught in the Net, Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette, both pages. Also on Instagram, I am live at Get Caught in the Net. And then on YouTube, we're live on Get Caught in the Net Incorporated. And at the end of today's segment, we will upload it to Intellectual Radio's YouTube site. So you cannot miss us on today, all right? So if one avenue goes down for you, hop on over to the other one, and so you won't miss a beat. So today, I have the privilege of introducing to you an individual that I met last year, and she probably don't remember, but I met her last year in September. And there was a beautiful event we had at my church where we were featuring, it was honoring graduates, but it was also honoring those who had wonderful accomplishments. And I was able to listen to this. She looks like a child. She looks like a child. I want to let you know that before I bring her in. And I'm like, wow, she's a doctor and she's just done all of these great things. And so my aunt told me about her, and I said, I have to have her on my show. So it's been a whole year. Okay, we're in September this year, right? So a whole year. So I'm able to present her on today. So y'all know I can do a lot of talking, but I'm going to bring her beautiful self on in on today. Dr. Victoria Hooker, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This young lady here, I was reading a little bit of her bio, and I said I wanted to go ahead and kind of focus on something that stood out to me in her bio. So let me read just a little bit here. Growing up on the south side of Chicago was not for the faint at heart, with the majority of people from her cohort ending up in jail or dead. Dr. Hooker chose not to become a product of her environment. And that's what stuck out to me when I was reading her bio, guys. Product of your environment. And we kind of talk about this, every once in a while. You may say, oh, that's because of the environment, the reason why they act or react this way, which is true. So that's why I had this. Well, I believe the Lord gave it to me to create this segment on today. A little bit more about her. After graduating from Whitney Young High School, she received her BA in biology from Rutgers University, New Brunswick, and went on to pursue her master's degree in health administration and management at Rosalind Franklin University School of Medicine, College of Health Professions, and her medical degree at Rosalind Franklin University School of Medicine. Am I saying that right? Okay,
Yep.
Chicago Medical School. All right, because I'm telling you, she's got a lot on here. This is good. This is good stuff. Now she's currently pursuing her master's in business administration, guys, with finance concentration at UIC School of Business. She's a mother of two children, 22 and 13,
Yep.
and she's 22 herself, who she considers her greatest inspiration. And they continue to give her daily excitement. So it says here, besides loving school, in her free time, she loves to travel and have been to at least 35 to 40 out of the 50 states. I love that. She loves outdoor activities, being by the beach and watching sports. I don't know when she has time for that now, but she says especially basketball. And she loves her specialty. Her specialty is family medicine. And she says it's because of the complexity and variation within the specialty, which is why she's in that. Okay, so she says she likes to manage it all: adults, children, adolescents, deliver babies. Ooh, okay, sports medicine, etc. And it will allow her to use the many skills acquired in her life's experiences. So welcome again to Mind, Body, and Soul, Dr. Victoria Hooker. So I'm so excited to have you here. You just don't know on today. I really am. So guys, come on in, come on in. I will engage with you as the hour goes on today. So let us know that you're here. We'll give you a shout out. But again, please make sure you tag individuals in, like, share, love, if you would not mind. We're talking today again. Are you a product of your environment? Oh, that's deep. That's deep in and of itself. But I have already read your bio, but can you do me a huge favor and just talk to us about who Dr. Hooker is from your own words?
Well, I mean, you pretty much said it all. Uh, Grew up
Say
in
what?
Inglewood. So that's kind of where, like, that's the south side of Chicago, kind of where that little blur from my bio came from. Born and raised there, lived there pretty much my entire life until I left for college, came back, kind of had like a family home there. But yeah, went to Rutgers, been back and forth. No straight course. More so just because I kind of would get tired of school and then like, oh, I need a break. And then I will go back. Okay, I'm bored now, so let me go back and do something. Kind of always knew I wanted to be a doctor. It's been there. It's been in me since I was younger. My third grade teacher actually instilled that in me. Who I kind of like still. I'm still in contact with. Close relationship. Everything. I consider her like my mom, so to speak. She was there for me after my grandmother passed away throughout my whole entire life, actually, since third grade, since day one. But yeah, so kind of knew that then. She was like, "Oh, you're gonna be a doctor." I was just like, "Huh, okay," that kind of thing. And then just throughout life's happenings, went to Rutgers, went to Whitney Young, went to Rutgers, got tired of school, was like, okay, I need a break. Came home, took a year off, traveled, hung out, the usual stuff that young people do. And then was like, okay, I guess it's time for me to go back. And started taking some other classes that I needed for medical school. And then I realized like, okay, kind of like a stump in the road with that because, uh, family reasons, kids, those things, testing, just, different things. And it kind of just was like, okay, let me get my master's since this is on hold. Kept getting waitlisted for medical schools. And so I was like, okay, I need to figure something else out. And then when I had my second child, I was like, okay, I guess I can't, be out here living my best life. Not really just chilling, living my best life, whatever. I guess I kind of need to figure life out and really focus now. So kind of did that. And after her, I finally decided to just sit down and study for the MCAT and, try to get into medical school and all of those things. So all of that
Oh,
was, started happening in 2016, 2015, 2016. So yeah. And then it's been
really?
nonstop medical school since then. And then work, because I also was working. I worked full time my entire time in medical school at Stateville Correctional Center as a correction officer. So it was like 40 hours
Okay.
a week. And yeah, and now I was going to school during the day, working in the afternoon. It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. And for those that know how medicine work in medical school, you already know how intense it is. So you can only imagine trying to do that plus work 40 hours because there was no part time. So
Wow. Wow. Okay. Now, see, I just learned something new. I didn't know that you didn't really start with the MCAT in medical school until after your second child. Is that right?
well, yeah. So like, yeah, that's true. That's true. When I had her, I was well, she was born in 2010. So in 2010, I started it was like a post-bac program. So like when you don't have a full like straight narrow course, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes like some people have to do like what we call post-bac programs where it's like transition programs and things like that. If you don't get the grades or don't take all the classes needed for medical school during your undergrad course, when people switch careers, they end up doing like these post-bac programs because it helps, one, boost your GPA, two, it gets you the classes needed for medical school. And so I started a program at Roland. And at that time, like I said, I had just had her probably 2 months prior to me, actually 6 months prior to me starting that program. And it was kind of like hard because I lived in the city and I had to travel to basically, it's like Waukegan, where near Great America is. So it was kind of rough. So that time around, I didn't get the grades for both classes. I only got the grades for one. And so I ended up having to, I didn't transition into medical school at that point. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, well, I'm here. I'm still here. I'm still a student. So I just switched over and I got my master's because I knew I wanted a master's anyway. So ended up getting my master's and I did that in like 9 months. And that took me over until like what, 2011, 2012. And from then I just kind of was like working, and then I started like studying for the MCAT. Um, and then I started work. Oh yeah, I did work at the post office for a few years, from like 2011 to 2014, and then I got sick of being there, and I was like, okay, um, I was like, this is boring, and so I left there, and it was night shift too. So for anybody that work nights, I commend you guys highly. Like it's definitely hard work working nights and trying to function during the day with responsibilities, families, kids. And honestly, it does take a toll on your body
I'm sure.
after a while. So I was like, I can't do this. So I switched there and actually left and went to Stateville. That's when I went to Stateville. And while still taking classes to like get all my classes for medical school, pretty much. Um,
Wow.
So yeah, it was a lot. It was so after that, I actually started medical school in 2016, and then throughout the process, took some time off because of family, because of kids. Throughout the what is it? Usually it's like 4 years, but I ended up graduating like 6 years. Yeah,
Okay.
because I didn't graduate till last year, but it's like typically 4 years. If you go straight through. But I
Mm-hmm.
ended up 6 years because I took some time off a couple of times, and then that was it. And then I
Right.
finally was just like, okay, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, let me back it up a little bit because you obviously are a determined individual. So,
hmm
and you realize, I always tell people you have to know yourself. So, obviously, you realize some points you had to take a little break, whether you were forced to, like you said, because of family or whatever, or just kind
right.
of realize, I just need to kind of regroup. Let me back it up. You mentioned about your teacher, was it? That
hmm
said that you were going to be a doctor. Do you know what she or that teacher was a female? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a female.
Okay. Do you know what she saw in you to make her say that? Has she ever expressed that?
I don't. I don't. Actually, that's a good question. I honestly never asked her that. I don't know. I was in third grade, so I mean, at that point, I mean, yeah, I was just a little kid who had straight A's. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know. Honestly, I can't even answer
Oh,
that question for you. I've
okay.
never even
Okay.
asked her, but it's just like, yeah, maybe she saw the fact that I was there, I was getting good grades, those things, and maybe at that point, kind of how I feel right now, like we as a Black culture really don't have people motivating us to go into, to be doctors, lawyers, those professional areas.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what she felt like she needed to do. So I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm actually gonna ask her that.
Okay.
What is it that you saw in me in third grade? Because
Yeah,
yeah, I've
were
never even
you
asked
running
her that.
around with a little medicine kit trying to repair people and fix them up or patch them up, or she just saw something? So yeah, I would be interested in knowing because the reason, and another reason why I asked that is because obviously in your journey, um, later on in life and how you I already talked about how you seem like you're determined, and it's like, why were you so determined? Were you I mean, because you could at any point said, "No, I don't want to do this. This is too much." Trying to get a
Mm.
medical degree. So what was your motivation? Was it hearing her in the back of your head and your ear saying you're going to be a doctor, or what was your motivation to continue? Because when we talk about and relate this to, your product of your environment, what were some of the things that motivated you?
I mean, like the biggest thing is just not to quit. At that point, it was something that I wanted to do. You know, clearly, if you're gonna keep fighting for something, it's clearly something that you want to do. When she said it to me in third grade, I didn't think anything of it. It was just, oh, okay, I'm a kid. Okay, you told me I'm doing something, and that's just it. But over the years, throughout the time, it's like, okay, is this really something I want to do? Getting involved in programs, looking at the sciences, looking at, math and all of those things. And it's kind of like, is this something interesting that I would seriously want to spend the rest of my life doing? Because you definitely have to love this in order to do it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not something, and I think what really pushed me over was when my grandmother passed away at 14. I was literally sitting in class at Whitney Young in my ninth period class, and it was just something in my spirit, something in my soul that I felt wasn't right. And
Mm.
so I got home, and basically she had a massive heart attack in the house. And I
Oh my
felt like at that point, you know, um, like if I was home, if I was closer to home or something like that, just being a kid, those things, just like I could have done something differently. I would have known what to do, those kind of
Yeah.
things. Or maybe I would have known what to do. I don't even know. Just a lot of things go through your mind when you're dealing with, like, you're dealing with grief and dealing with, situations like that. And so I think that's what really pushed me over. Okay, I really need to become this doctor because I need to figure out, how to help people not have these heart attacks, not have these ailments. What was it that led to her heart attack? Those kind of things. And at that point, I felt like I was invested. So,
Okay. Okay. And you were 14 when that happened, right?
yeah, I was 14 when she passed away.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean,
And she
I
raised
can
me, so
understand. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So that was
Yeah,
like
that
my
makes it
mother. Yeah,
right. Right. Yeah,
yeah,
I can see the impact and
hmm
how that meaningful that was for you. So,
right.
maybe in the back of your mind, I don't know, I'm not putting words in your mouth or anything, as you were going through and, trying to attain your degree, maybe you were thinking about your grandmother. Maybe you were continuing to
Oh,
think, okay,
always, always.
really? Okay.
Even now, yes, even
Okay.
now.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's beautiful. So let's talk about our environment and how our
mhm,
environment can affect us in whichever way, whether it's positive or negative. Maybe talk about your own personal experience about your environment. I mean, we already read about, different ones that you came along with or grew up with or were
mhm.
around. Either didn't make it, maybe they're deceased or got wrapped up in some things. What did that look like for Victoria? Were you, because we can look at, I mean, we all come from, our upbringing, our environment, and we can say, okay, I see that, I don't want to be involved in that. You figure out what you do and what you don't want to do, or you just
Mhm.
become a victim,
Mhm.
depending on where you
On
grew up at. So what did this look like for you, and at what point did you decide I'm either going to be a product of it or uh, a misproduct of my environment? Talk to us.
well, I mean, again, I was raised by my grandmother, so I was raised in the church. So it was kind of like I had that sheltered life. Um, but I still had enough leeway to go outside and be outside. So it's not like I didn't see what was going on around me, like a lot of
Yeah.
people. But I saw it. But I mean, I knew that was the choice that I didn't want. Just again, being around your environment, like being around different people. Um, my third grade teacher, being in the church, seeing successful people in the church, um, and again, like knowing that that's a lot of the stuff that I saw. I'm like, that's really not what God has for me. So that's really not what I want for my life. So there has to be better. There has to be, I don't know like why I was so like mature at that age. I don't know why I thought the way I did at that age, honestly, but those are some of the things that I thought about. Like, I don't want this for myself. I would look at, my own family and say,
Hmm.
I don't want this. So it's kind of like a lot of my environment where I came from. You see drugs, you see alcoholism, um, you see domestic violence. I've seen it all, murder, like everything. So it's like
Yeah.
I didn't want to live that life. And at some point, you know, they at some point that's your choice. At
Yeah.
some point you have to decide, even as a teenager, like that's your choice. And that's why, I like the adolescent age group right now, because a lot of the times it's really the guidance that they need. And a lot of times they get caught up in the environment, the things that's around them. And I just didn't want that for myself.
Yeah.
I saw it, I had it around me. That was one. I didn't want it for myself. Another thing is that a lot of the people in my neighborhood, they already knew. Like, I don't know, maybe they saw something in me as well. But a lot of the stuff that they would allow some of the other kids to get into in an area, they wouldn't let me do it. Nah, Vicky, that's not for you. Going back in the house, or, you know, get from around here right now. Like, this is about to go down, or whatever else. And so then I'll go home, and I wouldn't get caught up in those situations. So, um,
Wow.
it's kind of like, the Lord was protecting me from every area when I could have just been just, yeah, I mean, snatched up by my environment at any point, because it was surrounded, from family wise to friend wise, everything. Like, it
Yeah.
surrounded me, but he definitely shielded me from all of that. So,
Yeah, for sure. Ooh, that's deep though. That's really, really deep. Because when you think about it, unfortunately, some, they may have that same realization that this is not what they want to be involved in, but they get caught up for whatever reason.
mhm,
Whether it's, and then you talked about choices, whether it's their choice or they were forced into it. There's so many different scenarios,
mhm,
the reason why they could be involved in things that are not productive, to themselves and to society. But yeah, you're right. I believe God did have his hand, shielding you and protecting you. And then even the other individuals that come out, of it as well.
mhm,
My husband himself, I know he always mentions about, different things that he faced because he was on the west side, of Chicago, and growing up in the projects over there. It just wasn't a conducive, um, positive environment. But
I mean,
he
it
said
wasn't.
he
I
right.
get it.
He's like, I am not. He's like, no, this is not going to be me. And he basically, stayed in church,
Mhm,
and everything. He's a minister, to this day, and very serious about it. But one thing that he does do is give back. He goes back,
mhm,
and those who are homeless and everything like that. He always trying to help them out in whatever way that he can. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. When you look at it in that respect,
right.
I'm not going to be, a product of the environment in a negative way, but
Mhm,
I can, turn everything around and make sure that my life is helping society and helping myself. So yeah, that's good stuff because everybody's not able to say that. So let's talk about your passion. What is your passion? And we probably have already mentioned it a little bit today, but talk to me about what your real passion is, and did you always have this passion?
my passion. I mean, it's changed throughout the years so many times. I think right now, I'm more focused on, just like I said, I just actually just said it, dealing with the adolescent group, that teenage group. And
Why is that so important?
again, because I feel like a lot of them just need guidance and love. It's what they need. I see, because I am family medicine, so I see, like, all of the teenagers, the adults, but it's like a lot of the teenagers, they don't have, and I think I spoke about it when I was at church that Sunday too. Um, a lot of times we as parents, because I can say myself, we don't really listen to them, because we feel like a lot of us were raised to the point to where you do as I say, you know what I'm saying? Like those kind of things. And we
Yeah,
don't really listen and hear them, when we don't realize that their times are totally different from ours. The social media, the, things they deal with in school on a daily basis, um, their friend group, everything is totally different from the way we were raised. And they have a voice. They need to be heard too. So right now, like, that's kind of what's important to me. And kind of being an example, being a mentor, being a guide for them. Because I feel like my role could have been differently too, had I known somebody who was in this professional arena, had I known somebody who was in medicine. That's why it's important for me to like motivate our kids to make a decision on, doing something other than, sports,
Yeah.
because they need to understand, like, yes, you can play sports. That's a great hobby. But if you fall and break your leg, what are you going to do? If you all of a sudden start having this neurological disorder, if you get epilepsy or seizures or something, what are you going to do? If you just anything could happen where it impedes you from becoming that athlete, that star athlete that you see everyone becoming. And it's like, what are you going to do with your life? How are you going to sustain life, take care of yourself, and then, live your best life out here? We only have one life to live. And that's like the most
Mhm.
important thing for me, is living my best life right now, enjoying life, and putting my kids, my nieces, nephews, and hopefully eventually my grandkids in a position where they don't have to experience the things I experienced in life. So
Yeah. Okay.
adolescence is my passion right now, just in whatever way, shape, or form, and
Yeah.
dealing with them. So
Okay. All right. And that's good because you're an advocate for them, and
mhm.
and they need that. It. I think they face so much more than we did coming along.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
there's so much that they're fighting, they're up against, anywhere from social media to their peers. It's so much influence, and those who maybe have in their mind, I'm not going to become a negative product of my environment. It's they're pushing against so much so that they won't
Mhm.
won't sometimes some of them kind of get a little overwhelmed, and
Yeah.
it may not turn out exactly the way that they have planned it out or what have you. So to have someone advocating for them, have someone in their corner, maybe to listen to them or to just help to guide them, is going to
Mhm.
be key and so important. um, and I think we need more of that. We need more individuals to do that. Whether it's because of where you came from and you see what you experience, and okay, no, let me help you with that or whatever. I mean, from whatever vantage point that you can give, that would definitely help them. Um, so on behalf of the adolescents, I thank you for being an advocate. It's important. It's so key. It's very key.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I can understand how adolescence can be your passion. Because I mean, this may sound cliche. We always say they're our future, right? And it's
It's
true.
true.
It is definitely true. And whatever way we can help them, we need to do just that. Um, I have the next question here. Have you ever doubted yourself in this journey that you're on
Absolutely.
and your
Absolutely.
ability to do so? Talk about that. What, and how did you overcome it? Obviously, you did. So talk about that a little bit.
I mean, we all got ourselves, right? Especially when we're trying to get to something that we're striving for. I mean, even now, like, I'm a resident. I have a year and a half left before I'm done with residency. So, every day it's okay. I need to know this. I need to know this. How am I going to treat this patient? Every patient is different. And you always have those times where it's like, man, what am I doing? Am I doing this right? Am I treating this patient right? Is there anything else I can do? Throughout my process, especially like I said, during those times where I had to take time off, like, what am I doing? My family needs me, my kids need me. Why am I all of a sudden having issues with test taking or things like that? And it's just like, do I need to quit? Or I'm going to quit. And it's just like,
Right.
well, if I quit, then what else am I going to do? Because this is what I love. I love medicine. I love, the human body. Um, and this is, in my mind, my key in my way of setting my family up, breaking those generational cycles and curses that we consistently see in our Black culture. So it's like if I quit, then not only am I giving up on me, I'm giving up on them. So it's, it's
Yeah.
like, there are definitely days where I doubted myself, but I had to keep pushing and I had to keep going. Even now, I have to keep pushing. I have to keep going. Like I said, I told you I was studying for my last licensing exam right now and in the middle of taking it. So it's like, I have to keep pushing. I have to keep going no matter what happens. It's not just for me. And I think, for the last maybe 5 years, I've kind of been asking the Lord, like, Lord, what is my purpose?
Mhm.
And I think I'm starting to figure it out now, part of it is just being that person to, show my family that there's more to life than just, the neighborhood, and, we can go beyond Chicago, those kind of things. So,
Okay.
and the church
That's
helped me with that, honestly.
right.
So,
Right. Oh, well,
yeah.
that's good. That's interesting because someone probably would be like, I'm sure she already knows her purpose by now, but thanks for being transparent and sharing that, because we could be on our road going where we figure we're going and be like, wait a minute,
Mhm.
what am I doing? What is my purpose? And it's okay for you, like you stopped and asked God, you know,
Mhm.
because I'm quite sure you want to make sure that you are going in the right vein as well. You
Absolutely.
know, does he want you to detour? Does he want you to make a right turn, left turn, or what have you?
And I
Um,
mean, of course, we know, like everything we want to do, we want to make sure that it's in God's will, no matter what we're
mhm,
doing. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Um, we always want our own things and we have these plans for our life, but, a lot of times we don't stop to say, okay, Lord, is this what you have planned for my life? Like, am I going in the right direction for your plan, your will? What is your will? And I think as a child, we hear and we heard the saints talk about that all the time, but it's like it didn't click. Well, I'm gonna do what I want to do, but then it's like once you get older and you start going through life, you start to realize things happen and you're like, okay, that was what I wanted to do. Is that what you wanted me to do, Lord? Okay, why is this happening? Okay, maybe that wasn't what you needed me to do. Maybe that's why you put a stop here and a stop there. And it's just, okay, so let me get myself together. And then it gets to a point where you start realizing, like, okay, let me just do what this man need me to do, or what he want me to do, so I can stop going on these detours and having these blocks and just focus on what he need me to do.
Girl, you ain't said nothing but a word, because we'll get our little selves in there and be like, okay, I'm doing it real good. And you be like, that is
Hmm.
not what I told you to do.
That is not what I told you to do. And he would put a stop to it real quick, and you'll be sitting there like, oh, what? Wait.
Okay.
Back to the drawing board.
Back to the
So,
drawing board. But you know what? That shows the mercy of God, though, too. You know, because he could just do it with us if he wanted to, but he has mercy on
absolutely.
us. We're like, okay, wait a minute now. Let me just get you right back in line where I told you to go.
Hmm.
Um, and it's not that we're sometimes that we're trying to be disobedient or whatever. We, may have that motivation to, oh, maybe it should be
Yeah.
this way and da 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 da. That's
Hmm.
not what I told you to do. But
Exactly.
yeah, we have to be cognizant of his will, because it's not about us. I always say that it has nothing to do with us at all. It's his will. It's us
Hmm.
uplifting him so that he will do the drawing, because that's what it's all about. And whatever
Hmm.
platform he gives us, whatever career job he gives us, that's what we need to be doing. So we have to consult him. So thanks for saying that. I wanted, I'm glad you expounded on it, because some people don't really understand that that's what we need to do. So wow, yeah, I thanks for answering that question too, because sometimes we all do doubt ourselves. We do. I doubted myself. It'll be 10 years with this radio show, and I doubted myself the first year of about a month straight. I doubted myself. I kept asking, are you sure this is what you want me to do? I kept asking
Yeah.
God. And then he would answer every time. And so after a while, I said, okay, let me stop asking, because, I'm just going to go do what you tell me to do. And here we are 10 years later. So I'm still doing it. But yeah, that's interesting. So, okay. We already talked about your passion, and that will encompass that other question talking about the youth of today. So let's move. I want to ask this question because I want you to take us through the day in the life of Dr. Victoria Hooker. What does a day look like for you? I mean, I know
Oh
you say
no,
you have
it's
so much.
different every day.
Is it really? Okay,
It-
okay.
it's different every day. It just depends on the day. Is it a weekday? Is it a weekend? What service I'm on for the month. So like in residency, every 4 weeks you change out to a different service. So I
Okay.
actually just finished the last month working in the pediatric emergency department at Christ. So for
Hmm.
4 weeks, I basically had shifts throughout the month there. And so it just depends. So like if I have most of the days, it's work. Work is can probably range from 6 a to 6 p, depending on what service I'm on. After that, it's if like for the last month and a half, it's been studying for this test. So I would literally come home, study for the test, and then go to sleep and get up and do it all over again.
Wow.
Um, if it's a clinic day, because now I have 2 full days of clinic, Tuesdays and Fridays. So most days on my clinic days, I'll be in clinic all day until about 4:30 ish, and then at that time I usually take a little break, and after that I finish all my notes, respond to like messages the patient sent me, respond to results from labs that I order for the patients, and then I go home and I go to bed. If it's a day where I actually just don't have anything to do, most of the time I'm either going out to eat, um, or like hanging out. In the summertime, I love summertime shy. So downtown somewhere
Okay.
doing something outside. I love the outdoors. Waiting for basketball season to start so I can start going back to the games and watching basketball. Um, Although I have been watching college football just because I've been watching Deion Sanders in Colorado lately, these last few games. But yeah, other than that, it's literally just work and on my vacations I travel. Like I'm going on vacation next Friday.
All
So
right.
I'll be gone for 8 days after that. But
Okay. So it sounds like you know how to balance.
yeah, it was definitely a learning process. You learn how to balance. You learn it becomes an important thing. Your wellness becomes important. That's the other thing that's very important for me throughout just medical school, residency, prior to working, prior to starting. You realize that your wellness is important because at one
Hmm.
point during medical school, I started having issues with blood pressure because I was so stressed out, not
Wow.
getting enough sleep, those kind of things. And um, it was like, okay, you're too young to really have these issues with blood pressure. You only like, I think I was like maybe 30, 31.
Hmm.
And it wasn't because of my weight, because at that point I was smaller than what I am now.
Oh,
And my blood pressure was higher then than it is now. But it was just like, I really was like, okay, you have to do better about your
hmm.
life. And I felt like, how can I tell my patients they need to cut things out, change their diet, change their exercise, physical activity. How can I preach these things to my patients, but then not do the same thing for my own life? And unfortunately, healthcare workers are the worst. We're the worst, honestly, at our own health, because we take care of everyone else and we don't take care of ourselves. So
Ooh.
wellness is important. You learn that balance. You have to learn it. It's a lot of people don't, but you do. And you realize, you learn to, you know, like one of my I go to get massages every month. That's one of the things how I like keep my stress level down, because I refuse to do or get on medication and things like that, because there are things you can do. Now, don't get me wrong, medication does help. And some people actually, the stress, the anxiety, the mental health, those things, it's important, and medication does become a necessity, but there are things you can do to learn how to keep some of those things at bay, but you have to be willing to put in the work in order to do it, to stay off the meds.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, most of us don't. But if you're willing to do it, there are things you can do. So
Yeah.
I had to make that choice, and I had to realize that, I needed to adjust some things in my life. So.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you for saying that. That's interesting because you mentioned about the healthcare workers are probably the worst with their own health. I could see that because you guys are like on this continual cycle, this continual wheel, and it's probably hard for people to your medical workers to be able to find that balance. I'm glad you found it. I mean, you said it's because of experience. Basically, you had to basically had to find it. Because that's interesting. Sometimes often if I see maybe in the news a doctor or something or medical healthcare professional maybe suffering some kind of a disease or ailment, and I'm like, but wait a minute, but but I can see now from
We
what
don't
you're
go to
saying.
the doctor. We don't. I mean, honestly, to be fair, our schedules don't allow it. We come in,
Wow.
those of us that do outpatient medicine, we come in to the clinic, we seeing 20 to, some of us see 20 to 30 patients a day because it's so demanding right now for the amount of people that need doctors and want to see doctors. I mean, primary care physicians are overwhelmed. There's not enough of us. Specialists are overwhelmed. There's not enough of them. And so it's like we're trying to struggle. If we take a day off, that's one taken away from like our patient care, and it's taken away from our daily lives of like that's how we get paid. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
we can't consistently take days off, but then at the end of the day you have to realize that if you're not healthy, how can you adequately take care of your patients
Wow.
and be there for your patients? So I mean, it's something that we all have to realize and come to a realization. Either, you gonna choose to do it or your body is gonna stop you. So you can, choose to realize that and take your pick. So and
Yeah.
sometimes the way your body stops you is not, it's not the way you want it to be stopped. So uh
Yeah.
I just was fortunate enough only to have an elevated blood pressure. Some people, they can't. They have psychotic breaks. They go into, they end up with cancers and things like that because they just neglect their bodies and neglect their own health. But,
Wow.
it's hard for us to get back and forth to the clinic because we're consistently working. They don't allow us the time off, those kind of things. So, yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. That's a whole nother show right there. It really is. I mean, because we don't, those of us that don't work in that industry, we don't think of it like that. And you're
Mm-hmm.
you're bringing out some very good points. That's interesting. I have always, had an affinity for nurses and different ones because they're there. They're you know those good ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're there for the patient, and if your loved one's in there, they're advocating for them, they're doing what they can for them, and my hat is off to them, and doctors as well. But it's yeah, you guys need that. You need that self-care as well. You definitely need that. So I'm glad you're going on vacation. I'm glad you're taking time out, and and you're having downtime. Now, how do you think, or do you think that will change once your residency ends?
Well, it will. So residency is demanding because not only are we seeing patients, but we're also still in the learning process. So this is our like um we again we have to study still. So we're still studying as an attending. You still study. You still have to learn. We have books, magazines, articles, those things that we have to keep up on, because medicine is consistently changing every day. So even as an attending, it'll change. I'll still be in a learning process and in a learning phase, but it's less demanding. I won't have exams that I have to take all the time. I go from, you only take, once you're board certified in your specialty, it's every 10 years that you have to retake those boards. You do have a little bit more time depending on your specialty. For me, I think I've come to the conclusion as to what I want to do. And it's kind of, I think I've changed along the way. I started off a long time ago, surgery. Then, I still love emergency medicine. I love family medicine. But again, I still think now going through working, residency, all of those things, I think I'm going to end up being like a locum doctor, which is like kind of like similar to like a travel nurse, but we call them locums. And you just take different smaller contracts in different places. And it's not even a contract really. It's just like you go work for a certain amount of time and that's it. But it gives you the freedom basically to work when you want to work. And that's essentially what I want to do, because as you can tell, I'm interested in 1,000,001 different things. So I've kind of just been weeding out things like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Working, I feel like for those of us that can get out of working 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, like figure out a way to do it. It's hard, but it's really 5 days a week, 8 hours a day is not conducive for anyone's health, honestly, especially depending on the job that you work. It's a lot, and you should be out here enjoying life, and like living the life that the Lord allows you to live to the best of your ability. And if you're consistently working, it won't happen. So for me, I think that's kind of like the best thing. It'll allow me to travel, do my other love, allow me to spend more time with my kids, my family. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end up doing locum and just working when I want to work, honestly. But then, still doing other stuff like this, where I'm motivating or, doing things where, I'm, I don't know, working with the teens. My daughter will be, when she graduates from high school, those kind of things, just wherever she goes, maybe doing some short-term positions there, those kind of things, just, traveling and, I don't know, enjoying life, honestly. I plan on retiring when I'm 55, so.
Come on now. Come on. All right. I'm not going to ask you how many years away that is, but okay, good for you.
It's 15 years away. I'm 40, so it's 15 years away.
Okay. Well, good. So I'm just throwing this question in there. So you're 40 now, and started was around 2011, 2012, I think you said?
For
this medical journey?
Oh, yeah, something like that. Well, I started medical school in 2016.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I actually started medical school in 2016. I finally was like, let me start taking the MCAT and stuff, or, taking prep classes for that. Probably, about 2011, 2010, 2011, something like that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So did you feel at that point that age was a factor? I don't know at what point they really start out.
No, because I've always known like medicine has the age range in medicine. Of course, majority of people that go into medicine usually go straight through, right? They go to high school 4 years, do undergrad for 4 years, medical school for 4 years. So usually by the time you're 26, 27, you're pretty much a doctor. That's majority. But recently, maybe in the last 10 years, you've seen the age range like go to from like there all the way to the 40s. I mean, when I was second year medical school, it was this lady in my class. She was 45 years old, and we were in the same class, but she had been an ER nurse for her entire career.
Okay.
But because of life experiences, she had kids, she had to take care of her kids, those things like that. She couldn't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna quit and be a doctor."
Yeah.
The fortunate part is I had the support. I had the familial support. All of those things. My kid's father, all of those things that afforded me to be able to sacrifice and basically do what I want to do this whole time.
Yeah.
But some people, like in her situation, they can't. Or they realize they start a career and then realize down the road when they're like in their 30s and 40s, oh, I want to be a doctor. Those kind of things. Or they, for whatever reason, is it because now I'm in the healthcare field and I see this is what I want to do, or now it's like this is what I see. I have the motivation. I have people motivating me. Different, just for whatever reasons they choose to switch careers, and they're in their 30s and in their 40s. So it's a wide range. So I always knew like it was no like age limit on it, so to speak. And I mean, and I've always been the person to, I beat to the rhythm of my own drum. I do things when I want to do them, not just because everybody else want me to do them. So
yeah,
it's like when I got ready to do it, then I'll do it. And that's kind of how it's always been. When I got tired and bored, then I was like, okay, I'll go back to school and do something else. I think this MBA is my last thing, but there's no age range to medicine. Anybody can come, we welcome you. We need more physicians. I don't care how old you are. I guess it's a tough road, but in the end, it's definitely worth it. You will always have a job. That's how I tell people. You will always have a job, no matter what field of medicine, no matter what field of healthcare you go into. So whether you're a nurse, a doctor, or whatever, you'll always have a job. Physical therapy, everything, So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that, because somebody may have been thinking about it, but they may have been a little inhibited because of their age. That's why I asked the question. So that's good. I mean, you talked about motivation, you talked about support, which is going to be key, of course, any area that you try to go in, but especially in the area that you have chosen in the medical field. So as we're wrapping up today, your supporters, naysayers, down through the years, how did you or do you handle it?
I don't know. I've always been the one to really not care what people think. So it's it's hard not to care what people think, but I've always been that person. I haven't figured out how to get people to realize that, you just have to do what's right for you and not worry about, your family or your friends or, society, so to speak. But I just kind of again, did what I wanted to do. I do what's best for me, what's best for now. And then when I started having kids, it's what's best for my kids. I've always been one to look at the future. Like, what decision is my decision going to benefit me later? How is my decision going to benefit my kids? And, I've had people doubt me. I've had family members tell me when I went away to college, because I had my son when I was 18. And I actually took him to New Jersey with me. No family, nothing. On the East Coast, 1,000 miles away from home. And my first semester when I left, they said, "Oh, you'll be back in December. You will be back." I said, "Oh, okay." So a lot of times I think that's kind of what, kept me going. I use that negativity from my naysayers and things like that to kind of push me through, because, on the outside, you have people always that's looking to see if you're going to fail. So they can say, "See, I told you wasn't going to do," or "I knew you weren't going to do this," or blah, blah, blah. If you wouldn't have did this, then you would be here. And those kind of things. And so it's like, I use that as motivation to keep going. Same way I use my environment as motivation to say I don't want that. Same way I look at family members and say I don't want that for my life. I need to do better, and I can show them that there is better. So it's kind of like I took my negative environment basically and the negativity around me, and I always use it as motivation to keep pushing me through life to get to where I am now. So that's pretty much what it is.
I love it. I love it. What was that little scenario that I heard years ago? When they keep throwing dirt at you, you just pack it, keep standing on top of it, so you can go higher and higher and higher.
Exactly.
That sounds like that's exactly what you have done. You've taken, what the negative things that they say, and it motivated you, it ignited you, and that's important. That's important because some people can fall under that pressure and then not necessarily achieve what they have been desiring to do, their goals, their dreams, or whatever, what have you, because they're looking at and listening to the naysayers or those who are not necessarily in your corner. And sometimes those naysayers, they're just jealous, or maybe they didn't accomplish stuff, or maybe you're accomplishing something they wanted to.
They wanted to, exactly.
Yeah. So it could be a variety of things, but I'm glad you did not allow that. You said that was your first semester there to dissuade you.
It's naysayers from every arena, from family, even professors. I had one professor ask me in undergrad, like, why don't you become a PA? And I'm like, what? Like, a physician's assistant. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with physician assistants. I love them. Right. We need them. They help us tremendously in healthcare. But it's like, why would you even tell me to stop going to school to be a doctor to become a physician's assistant? I've had people say, why do you want to be a doctor? You could just be a nurse, or, those kind of things. And, when I say people, it's, not of our persuasion, of course.
Of course.
So, those little microaggressions throughout my career. And even now I still deal with it. It's, how did you get here? Or different things like that. So it's just very interesting. You'll get it from every arena. It doesn't matter. Family, friends, professional, it'll come from every arena. You just have to figure out a way to overcome it all. So
now that's something I should have been asking you too, about how to deal with that. Oh my goodness, because I'm quite sure, I mean, you're double, you're Black and a woman, so I'm sure that you deal with so much. Oh my goodness.
I am an anomaly in medicine. I'm 2% in medicine, African American and a female. 2%.
Wow. Okay. All right. So that's wild to me. Okay. That really is wild to me. And we see this often. We really do. So, encourage somebody, even with that, if you would not mind. Encourage those who are probably an anomaly in whatever career, profession they're in. And talk to them. How do you get through it? Do you just let it slide off your back now? If they're saying stuff to you or talking behind your back or whatever, or trying to, pull you down or make it seem like you don't exist. How do you deal with that?
I mean, you have to realize all things doesn't require a reaction. And you have to realize a lot of times, I think it started when I was an undergrad. You have to realize a lot of times people are ignorant to our culture, to where we come from, what we do, how we do it. And I realized that in undergrad when I had multiple people. I had to realize a lot of them don't even interact with us until they get into the professional world, because they've grown up or been raised in, a area where we're not heard, we not seen, you know what I'm saying? So, even with that, or no matter what, whether it's from that area, from this professional level, whether it's from family, those things, you just have to just know that no matter what, you have to keep going. if it's something that you want, it's unlimited. There's no limit to life. There's no limit to what you want to do. And if it's, I mean, it's just, if it's something that you want, you just have to go and get it, honestly.
Yeah.
And you can't wait for nobody to give you a handout for it. You figure it out, you sit down, you do the work, and that's how you're going to go. And with every small goal leading to your big goal, you'll be motivated to keep going. And that's kind of how it was for me.
Mm-hmm.
With every step, I was like, okay, I can keep going. I can do this. I look at what are your reasons for it? That was another thing that I had to consider. Why are you doing what you're doing? So once I realized and I figured out why I was doing what I was doing, that was my motivation really to keep going.
Okay.
And the first thing was my kids. I'm doing what I'm doing for my kids, for my family. And then for myself as well. I mean, something I always wanted to do. Don't quit. I raised my kids not to be, quitters. So if I felt like now I can't quit because now I'm going against what I'm training them to be. I'm a leader, not a follower, I lead from the front, not from the back, and so I just had to just learn how to just dismiss and realize like what other people say is, like you say, it's for whatever reason, whether it's jealousy, whether it's, because they didn't get to where you're going, or, people just don't want to see you better than them, or for whatever reason, you just have to keep going, just push through it. And in the end, you'll understand, and you'll be happy for yourself. And you just get to a point to where you don't care what other people think, honestly.
Right.
You just have to keep going for yourself.
Yeah. Wow, that's good stuff. Obviously, you have to have thick skin. And I know, because that it's not going to make them stop, because you mentioned ignorance. A lot of it is ignorance, and that's where a lot of it stems from. Wow, this is deep, man. I want to go into something else with this, but I'm gonna be nice today. Buddy Gil, I see you, and I see many of you that have come in and here on Instagram, Facebook. Thanks for coming in. Buddy says good afternoon to everyone. Jamone, hey cousin, thanks for coming in. He says, "Amen." Speak on it. And Buddy says, "Your whys are very important. They will propel and lead you." Totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
And you kind of summarize what she said, Buddy. I see you over here on Instagram. I don't know these names, but believe it's Brother Sledge over here. Is that my big sister? How are you, Lady Rojo? Thanks for coming here. Appreciate you, Lady Rosalind Sanders over there. But yeah, this is good stuff. I just, and as you were talking, I was recalling about how sometimes we as Black women, when we're in the workforce, if you will, it's almost like we have to try and weigh how we're going to respond. You know what I mean? I dealt with this for so many years. And when you're there, it's like, so if you respond and they're like, oh, she's just an angry Black woman or whatever, or how you respond, or, it's like, no, I'm just, number one, I'm standing up for myself. I'm not going to let you run all over me. I'm not an angry Black woman. They just immediately try and throw those labels on you. And it's just it's really unfair. But you mentioned you have to just keep it moving. You have to keep it moving.
It professional.
Because
they want you to respond that way. That's what they're expecting you to do. So it's like, don't feed into it. They expect you to respond that way so that they can say like, oh, she's difficult to work with. That's giving them fuel to kind of like dismiss you, because a lot of times that's what they're really looking to do. Or, those kind of things. It's like, no, don't feed into it. Don't feed into the negativity. They want you to. And I mean, for the most part, a lot of times those people that do that like those people that will say different things or come at employees in certain ways are already known. So it's kind of like now they're just kind of picking on you, and people see it. If you just do what you have to do. One thing I say, if you come in there and you do your job from the beginning, no one can ever say that you did anything wrong. So just do your job, hard work, no matter what job it is. I don't care if you're working in a factory. I don't care if you're working in a hospital. I don't care if you're working, no matter what you do, just do your job, do it well. And no one can ever say that, you didn't. And they can't slander you, have morals, have integrity. And that's pretty much it. And then there's nothing that they can say or do to you at the end of the day, no matter what they say, no matter what negative things they say. Always have a positive attitude. Carry yourself in a way, godly manner. That's literally what it is. I don't care what God you worship or you pray to every day, whether it's, God the Father, or if it's Allah, or whoever, no matter what religion you are, no matter whoever your higher power is and whoever you worship, carry him, her with you every day, daily, and use that to fuel and guide your way through life and your daily. That's it.
So. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that sounds like that was a good summary of you encouraging people on today. I normally like to end by asking individuals to encourage our listeners, those who are joining us now or who will come back and listen. So this is good. And it still lines in with the topic title, Are You a Product of Your Environment? It's so important that we realize what choices we could make the right choices, in our lives. And don't let, if you've come up under a negative environment, don't let that influence you to being negative, to being, out of order. Maybe I can say it like that. But yeah, so make the right choices, so that you will become a good product of your environment. I don't even want to quote the scripture, but can anything good come out of Nazareth? We know, Jesus Christ was good. He is good.
Right.
So there are good things that can come out of our environment. So this is what we were trying to focus on today. And I'm so glad that you consented to join us. Where can everybody find you? I know we talked a little bit about social media earlier, but where can they find you and keep up with you? That you wouldn't mind them knowing?
I mean, email is probably the fastest way to find me. You can do drvnh2012@gmail.com. I am on Facebook, Victoria Hooker. It's actually a picture of my son there. So I can't even say it's a picture of me. And then I am on Instagram at drvnh2012. So,
okay. All right. Okay, make sure to put this information on in the comment section, guys, so you can keep up with her and follow her, even through the end of her residency and when she becomes official. But she's already working in that capacity, and this is wonderful. I love what she's doing. I love her motivation. I love her in enthusiasm and her push. I've read her bio, listened to her on today, and she's just been determined. And that's what we need. We need to hear that. We need to be encouraged by that. And prayerfully, it was something that was said for you guys on today. So your next steps is to complete residency, right?
And anything. Left.
I'm sorry, what was that?
A year and a half left.
Oh, okay. All right. And that has nothing to do with what you're studying now, correct?
What do you mean, my licensing exam?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it does. So I have to pass my licensing exam. That'll allow me to practice, throughout the United States. But I still have to get a state license for whatever state I choose to practice in. And
Okay.
then I still have to, at the end of residency, which will be 2025, in April of 2025, I have to take my family medicine board exam, and that'll allow me to practice as a family medicine doctor throughout my career.
Okay.
So yeah, and then that's it, and I'm done.
So what is this? Did I read this incorrectly? So you're pursuing a master's in business administration? Is that
Oh
right?
yeah, I'm at UIC right now doing that. So this is my last year. Should have been my last semester, but they didn't offer the last class that I needed. So I'll finish in June of next year, 24, May of 24. But I like admin work too. I like the admin side of healthcare. So that's, something I might consider as well. So I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
So that's what I was asking, if that had anything to do with your
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it does, and it doesn't at the same time. But yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a career student.
No, I'm done. I'm done after this. After this, it's a wrap.
That's it, huh? Okay.
That's
All right.
it. I'm tired.
Now, just this last question before we go. Now, are your children, are they trying to follow in your footsteps? Do they have their own careers in mind?
My son, I think I kind of scared him away. He's just like, no, you do too much. That's too much work. My daughter is, though. She is already saying she wants to be an OB-GYN doctor. So,
Really?
so we'll see. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
So
beautiful.
she's at Kenwood right now. Just got into their biomedical science program, 8th grade. She started there last year. She's in their 7th and 8th grade academic center. So
Excellent. Excellent. Well, they have a wonderful example in their mother. So whatever your son decides to
thank
do,
you.
they still have a wonderful example in you, that push and determination that I was talking about earlier. So thank you again so much for coming
Thank
in,
you
for
for having
joining us
me.
on today. Like I already said, I know she's not one that likes to talk in front of people a whole lot. I remember her sitting next to me and she was like, I don't do this a whole lot. But that's okay, because I knew you had a lot to give and a lot that we would be able to glean from. So thank you again for taking time out on today, and we pray for you in your to continue to be successful. Pray for you as
Thank you.
you're nearing the end of your residency and with your licensing and the business administration aspect, all that you're doing right now. We just pray Godspeed on you, and He will continue to bless you in all that you do, because you're bringing a light to your community and those who are in need. So we thank you. We thank you for giving of your time and the
Thank you.
sacrifices that you've made. So appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you for having me.
All right, you're so welcome. All right, guys, as she's exiting on today, we just want to, thanks, Jamone. He says, awesome show. Oh, I'm glad you had to be a part of the discussion. Thank you. Thank you. But he says, I hate that I came in so late. I'm certain that I missed some good information that was shared. Yeah, you could just go back and rewind after we're done. You can either look here on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram for the recorded session on today. So, but thanks for coming in when you did. But I was going to let you guys know that on next week, we are going to it is supposed to be Health and Wellness Wednesday on next week, but a special announcement. It's my birthday next week. Yay, yay. Another birthday, another year. Thanking God for it. So with that in mind, we're going to have Health and Wellness on Tuesday as opposed to Wednesday. So when you look at this promo for next week, that's what you will see. So don't look for me next Wednesday, September 27th. Remember that date, September 27th, my birthday. No. But anyway, we'll be on September 26th on Tuesday at 12 noon. So we'll keep the same time, just the day before, for Dr. Shirley Hill. And she has a very interesting topic. And I know you guys love to hear Dr. Hill with our health and wellness segment. Buddy, I hear you over there grumbling. I hear you. But she's going to give us some good stuff, and we just appreciate her coming in every month as well. So again, thanks to my guest on today, Dr. Hooker, Victoria Hooker, and for all that she shared. My goodness, it was a lot. It was a lot poured into this little time frame that we have on today. So take a look at this promo for next week. And oh, guys, please remember, you can still purchase a virtual or in-person ticket for the awards show that where'd my book go? Surviving a Silence Heartbeat was nominated for a literary book award. And the nomination ceremony, the award ceremony, will take place in Las Vegas in November. So you still have time to purchase a ticket. Like I said, some of y'all probably want to hop on to Vegas and come and support me, or you may just want to watch it virtually. And I will put the link for the Eventbrite where you could purchase your tickets. Okay. So, and when you do that, please make sure that you type in SASH so that I will know that it is, I see you, buddy, that you are supporting me. Okay. I appreciate all of you. And thanks again for on a daily basis, sticking with me with the SASH talk, encouragement discussions. Also, you can find us on WCGM every day with Gerald Montgomery for the SASH talk discussions. And yeah, that's good stuff. Keep up with my posts on all social media outlets and you will find out what's going on. All right. Gonna stop talking. I'll talk to you guys later. Take a look. On the next session of Get Caught in a Net.
Get caught in a net with a net. For your mind, body, and soul. Get caught in a net with a net. It's your intellectual radio show. Here to inspire you and encourage you to be your very best. Get caught in a net with a net.
Get ready for another Get Caught in a Net Wellness Wednesday on a Tuesday. That's right. Here on Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette, Dr. Shirley Hill, Mo Faith Nutritional Services, will come to us one day early for our monthly health and wellness segment. Here, you can learn wellness tips and instructions on how to live disease-free. Our topic of discussion, tampering with the image and likeness of God. Put us on your calendar, Tuesday, September 26, 2023, 12 noon Central Standard Time. We're waiting on you to get caught in a net.
Get caught in a net with a net. For your mind, body, and soul. Get caught in a net with a net. It's your intellectual radio show. Here to